Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
It's more than a feeling. It's logic and reason. I just freaking know better. And time comes around to where it's so obvious that you just have to wonder why or who's on the other side. Well, we know the motivations. It always comes down to power, control, I feel bad. But a lot of times, these types of traits attract the worst in people and the worst people. So if you have unlimited power, unlimited force, you have no system that's really going to prosecute you or hold you accountable, how bad will you get? Oh, and you get financially rewarded. I remember in the 90s when they started giving percentages to individual officers that would do seizures. It was on Good Morning America in Utah or wherever it was. They were, they come, that looks like marijuana cigarette I see there. Your car is now mine. I get 25%. I'm going, wow, man, we already know where this is going. You might as well just call them the King's Highwaymen. So it was inevitable what was going to happen when they started doing RICO seizures. So now we have communities that, and that's one thing I asked Leigh, man, there has to have been a financial incentive for smaller communities, especially, to participate in a drug war for the financial reward that they would get. I mean, tell me about that from your perspective.
Right. I mean, because the federal government routinely gives burn grants, and different kinds of grants to support drug enforcement efforts, be it burning down marijuana crops or going out and actually doing the raids and doing the work and doing the investigative work, and then they also provide a lot of the money for the tools used to do that work.
Well, I would imagine that there are municipalities and jurisdictions that benefit from the actual seizures themselves.
Sure. Yeah, the money comes back to, not all of it, and the feds will take a percentage, but the money comes back to the respective law enforcement budget.
So my question is, in your personal experience with this, having seen that and then coming out of it and looking back, there has to be an understanding by the people in law enforcement what's happening. Some people, and my years as political activist and being involved in this and a candidate for office and bringing this up, I mean, I've been doing this for almost 20 years, actively in the community. They always know when they're going to run a drug story or anti-prohibition or something. I get the call from the reporters and they say, well, what do you think? Heck, a lot of times they even write it and just say, is this okay what we quote? Heck, they already know what we're going to say. So I'm going, all right, there has to be law enforcement officials or officers in there that have made the decision, as you did, to just leave. And I'm wondering over time, certainly in the last 15, 20 years, that only thing that's left are the people that somehow have rationalized it, even if they know it's bad. The drug war is not producing, the benefits to society that they had hoped. They don't care. Their character is of a different level. So I'm wondering, are the people on the force now increasingly becoming more educated and aware and see that anti-prohibition would be a better solution? Or are those people leaving and what's left is respect my authority? Tell me what's going on.
I think there's probably a little bit of both. I think you have some very dynamic, enlightened leaders that are emerging and developing and are starting to take a second look on how we do things and the impacts it's had on the communities. And then you've also got the people that have been in it so long that they've become vested in the work to a point where they aren't open to new conversations. I think you're going to find a blend.
And which ones are the ones that are at the highest levels?
I think you're going to find a blend there. From my experience, the really dynamic and creative leaders will oftentimes burn out before they can make things change. And we put this on the police department, but it's not fair to put it on the police department. Okay, this is what our government collectively is doing. And the police are just doing what they're told. It's the legislators. It's the people that we've elected to our representative government.
No, I understand that. We got to be careful we don't get into the Nuremberg defense. It's kind of like, hey, man, I was just taking orders, and that's where it's getting down to. I mean, it's getting bad. Now, let's go ahead and look at...
something needs to change. I agree with you.
Let's look at what's going on in Mexico right now. Mm-hmm. Is that you using that as any kind of rhetoric, as propaganda, as and you coming up against it? Because I know what the administration is doing now. I know what they're trying to make. This is a product of illegal drugs being trafficked. And no, it's because they're illegal. I mean, how are you using what's going on in Mexico? And do you think
Mexico scares me? Mexico scares me a lot because I feel like we're injecting ourselves in a civil war that's not going to be able to be fixed unless we figure out a way to legalize and regulate the market. And we see the effects of what's going on in Mexico in every American city. I mean, people are dying. Hundreds of people are dying, including police officers, including kids, every day. And the federal government, we can't even tell you how many police deaths are related to the drug war, but they're happening.
And I want to make sure my audience, because I already know what they were thinking. They're sitting there going, she said the word regulated. What are you going to say about it, Ernie? And I'm like, oh, all right. So you go to, here we have, Dr. Paul, presidential candidate, national television on Fox News, no less, and Bible-thumping conservative South Carolina saying legalize heroin, and everybody's cheering. And I'm just wondering, when you say regulation, wow, man, I mean, it's just a degree of what we got now. It's heavily regulated now.
No, it's criminalized. It's a big difference. And I'm not suggesting any one form of how to legalize this, but it's got to be done in a way that doesn't cause more harm.
Well, are you willing to just have the federal government totally out of it and leave it to the states?
That would be my preference.
Okay. Well, at least we can go blame the guys locally. So I'm glad you were able to share your story. It is really compelling, and I'm sure it's a powerful testament to a lot of other people in your situation, which is why LEAP is so benefited by you being associated with them. Now, tell me more about LEAP. How is membership? Is it growing? Are you getting more of the hardcore drug warriors that are coming around? Are they law enforcement openly antagonistic or opposing you, or they start to embrace you? Are they worried about you? And where's your opposition coming? Is it coming from the administration? Is it the big drug dealers at the CIA and Pablo, what's his name, or something like that? They're going, give me LEAP's position in this entire issue.
Well, to my knowledge, we have not yet received any death threats, and none of our members have been arrested. So if there's opposition to us, it's underground and not in our face. Our membership is always growing. Our membership is open to everyone. You can find us online at leap.cc. I think that's what it is. Our speakers obviously are only law enforcement professionals or retired. But it's an organization that has a very important voice to add to the conversation, and that's why I'm so happy to be involved with them.
And where are you having your greatest impact? And a lot of the opportunities we've had to promote LEAP, or they have a function, or we have somebody on the air, or we have a meeting where they are a featured speaker, that kind of thing. I'm wondering, are you really using your past credentials as an influence to the people? Are you trying to recruit law enforcement? Are you there for lawmakers? Where are you having your greatest impact?
A little bit of all the above. I mean, I have my circle of influence, and I talk about this a lot, and I've been able to get people to completely change their minds on how they feel about our drug policies. And we do work down in Annapolis trying to educate legislators on what we see in the streets here in Baltimore and elsewhere. So
Well, I'm
doing
glad
all kinds of good stuff.
I'm glad you're there. You know, I'm pleased. You know, stay in touch. There's something that you think needs to get out to the Love-olution, and we're going to encourage you to participate in our inaugural edition of Freedom's Phoenix magazine, where we have a lot of great ideas. I mean, we definitely want to give Leap an opportunity to participate. And if
That would be awesome, Ernest.
And if you got time, we're going to get you to do that, and we'll be right back in the second hour here on Freedom's Phoenix. Thanks to Leigh Maddox, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. It's LEAP.cc. We'll be right back here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, in just a little bit for the second hour. Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.